the Coast Slayer Pro, the Streamlight Wedge, and the Nebo Edge 2K. Who's going to be left standing in this EDC basic flashlight face-off? Previously, we looked at some EDC multifunction flashlights, and those devices were amazing. Well, I mean some of them. But I wanted to look at some EDC flashlights that were no frills because, well, simpler is better sometimes, right? Similar to before, my criteria was fairly basic. I wanted a flat form factor flashlight with at least 1,000 lumens that cost around $100 or less. But in this case, with no extra features. No lasers, no UV lights, no red lights, just a basic flashlight. Now, first off is a flashlight with a kind of badass name that in no way makes sense for the flashlight itself. The Coast Slayer Pro. At a cost of $75.35, this flashlight comes in at a kind of weird 1150 lumens. I didn't have any way to reliably measure that, so we're just going to have to take Coast's word for it. Despite the name, this knife has a pretty basic look and feel. Now there's some contouring along the bottom edge of the flashlight, which kind of suggests maybe a knife handle, which may be how they came up with the name. But this contouring in no way adds to the usefulness of the flashlight. And honestly, from a design perspective, the size and location of the buttons would make this flashlight kind of difficult to reliably operate while wearing gloves. Don't get me wrong though, I like this light. It's a USB-C rechargeable light, and the designers smartly put a cover on the end cap, so when it's in a pocket, the charging port is not exposed to weather and other stuff. Regardless, it does have an IP67 rating, the second highest resistance to dust and water a device can get. That's impressive. It has 4 bright levels, including a spotlight mode. The 2 buttons also light up to indicate charging status when it's plugged in. The first button toggles through the modes, and the second is a dedicated on-off button for one mode that you choose. I just select the mode and then hold the button down until it blinks, and you have a dedicated button for your preferred mode. I guess I didn't poke the buttons right, but that feature does work. I did actually make it work. Again, I like this flashlight. It's a pretty decent flashlight. It's reliable and has a pretty good battery life, and it's small enough and light enough you can hold it in your mouth if you need to. I guess the one issue I would have with this light is the toggle mode button for 2 reasons. One, I hate toggle modes. I hate toggling through light settings, and that's just a pet peeve of mine. But the other reason is a little bit more practical, and that is the location of the button. As you're holding it, your thumb naturally wants to go to the most forward button, which is the toggle mode. Putting the dedicated mode button behind that just is not intuitive. Now, I get that repetition and familiarity will address that issue, but I'm kind of a I don't want to ramp up kind of guy, so take that for what it's worth. Now, next up, we have the most expensive flashlight we're looking at today, and that is the Streamlight Wedge. The Wedge has a name that goes in the other direction from the Slayer Pro into the utterly uninspired, vaguely potato referencing category. Can I have a potato-inspired category? Should I be ranking these on some kind of tier scale like I see on like the Dungeon Dudes YouTube channel? Let me know in the comments what you think. As I said, the Wedge is the most expensive of the flashlights we're looking at today, coming in at $110.96. And it's also the lowest brightness, coming in at just 1,000 lumens. Now, despite my comments about the name, I do like the sleek, simple lines of this light. It's USB-C rechargeable with an exposed charging port in the end cap, but not to worry. It has an IPX7 rating. That means you can take it out in the rain or even take it in the pool with you. Just don't take it in the pool for more than 30 minutes. It has a single rotating thumb switch on the side with a simple red-green light for battery and charge indication. Being a mechanical switch completely eliminates the possibility of accidentally turning it on in the pocket, which is kind of a bonus. This design also lends itself to being extremely easy to use even with bulky winter gloves. The default brightness is 300 lumens and the turbo mode is 1000. That's it. 2 options. There is no lock for the turbo, so if you need that full time, you have to hold it. The switch itself has a very positive feedback and is satisfying click into place when operating. As for hands-free, it's light enough and comfortable enough you can hold it in your mouth while you're crawling under cabinets or sorting through parts bins. If I had one complaint about this light, it would be the lack of a lock for the turbo mode. I'm guessing they do that because of battery life and possibly heat. I mean, some of these flashlights, when left on their highest settings, can heat up to the point of doing actual damage. So I guess that's a real thing, but having a lock option would be a real win. Now, our last contestant in the EDC basic flashlight face-off is the Nebo Edge 2K. Where are they coming up with these names? Well, the Edge manages to be the brightest of the set with a max 2000 lumens, and it's also the least expensive, selling for $52.94. The form factor on this light is a little wider than the others in the lineup, but that didn't significantly add to the weight or affect the usability. However, where this design difference matters is in the pocket. I found the wider flashlight to be occasionally uncomfortable and distracting at times. It's also not great for holding in your mouth. This is the first flashlight of the group to proudly stamp their IP rating, in this case an IP6, on the chassis. Now, that's pretty good. It's the lowest level of protection of the bunch, but IP6 is no slouch. The flashlight has an end cap activation switch and a thumb wheel selector on the side. Having the power button on the end cap and the selector on the side does make it a little awkward at times to operate. Even still, the controls of the flashlight are not bad to operate, even when wearing gloves. A 4 LED indicator gives you battery charge and charge status, and there are 3 brightness levels you can select with the thumb wheel. I can't tell you how happy I am to see that you don't have to toggle through the settings using a single button. It does have a lockout, which is great for the push button flashlight, but I think the strangest thing about this light is the way that the lockout works in concert with the power button. You can actually turn on the flashlight, then lock it with the thumb wheel, which turns it off. You can then press the power button all you want and get nothing. But if you turn the wheel again to unlock it, it remembers the last state of the light and comes on at that level. I mean, that's kind of cool. But if you're absent-minded like me, you'll forget that you turned it off with the wheel. And the next time you turn it on with the wheel, you'll blind yourself. Which happened twice. So that's the Coast Slayer Pro, the Streamlight Wedge, and the Nebo Edge 2K. All 3 of these flashlights are good flashlights. I'd be happy to carry any one of these in my pocket every day. But when I consider a need for a straight shooting basic flashlight, it's going to have to be the Streamlight Wedge. Despite the high price, comparatively, it's very respectable 1000 lumens combined with a clean, simple design and no-frills operations matches very well with my need for a flashlight that I don't have to think about, that's going to take a beating and just work when I need it to. And so there you have it. And so that brings us to the end of this video. If you found it helpful, I'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe and press that notification bell so you can be warned the next time I'm back on the interwebs. Until next time, seek wonder, stay curious, and go all in on those and what you love.